we're going to be talking about none other than Venom: The Last Dance. Now, this movie, I don't know, guys. I am excited, pissed off. And sad, all at the same time.
Let's talk about the specific scene that we all like are talking about.
I'll let you handle that one. Go for it.
All right. So first things first, I was never a huge fan of the Venom movies. I'm not a huge fan of anything that Sony does pertaining to Spider-Man or their interpretation of Spider-Man. But
except for the animated.
The animated, well, live action, I'm not a fan of. But so I guess some backstory, like for those of you who've seen Let There Be Carnage, the Venom movie that came out before this, there was a post-credit scene where he and Venom, like the symbiote, jump the multiverse into the MCU, which was supposed to lead into Spider-Man No Way Home. So people were expecting to see Venom in that movie. We didn't. That was kind of a red herring number one. In that movie, we got another post-credit scene where he did show up, and he's at the bar, the same like tiki bar that he kind of ended up at in the post-credit scene of Let There Be Carnage. He gets transported back to his Sony universe, but a little piece of the symbiote stayed behind. As anybody who's seen that movie remembers, is telling us basically that this symbiote is now in the MCU. Great. Tom Holland is going to get Venom. Awesome. Not only did Sony even move forward with another Venom movie outside of the MCU, which I think was the total waste of time to begin with, if this is the setup that you were going for, but this new trailer is now showing us not only the aftermath of that post-credit scene with him coming back to the Sony universe, but it seems like this is going to be a multiverse movie back into the MCU, quote unquote, where one of the characters goes back into that tiki bar, and we see the same bartender from that post-credit scene, the guy who was from Ted Lasso, actually, he was one of the teammates, take that little symbiote drop and seemingly take it away, or just he puts it in some sort of canister, and it's presumed that he takes it back to the Sony universe. That's the vibe or the idea that I'm getting out of that, and that itself pisses me off because that is yet another red herring that Sony is they keep dangling this MCU Spider-Man carrot in front of everybody's faces.
Come get it. You almost got it.
And I feel like with every single movie, they have, like between Morbius and Madame Web and now this, they are getting more and more shameless about it's like they're trying to trick the MCU fan base into being into their movies too, or making them think that they're part of it, and they're not. But it's like, enough is enough. Like this movie is like that alone was just like a killer for me, in my opinion. So yeah, you guys can end
those
my
are the
rant.
exact reasons why I am upset about it, but yet I'm kind of excited because the first two I really enjoyed. I didn't think that they were a clusterfuck. I mean,
Let There Be Carnage was terrible.
I don't think it was terrible.
No, it was terrible. I thought its only purpose was for its post-credit scene, which ended up being a waste. So there was no purpose. There was no purpose in that movie.
So with that controversial scene or polarizing scene, it's possible that that piece of symbiote is still in the MCU, but it's possible that Eddie Brock left behind another piece, and that the fact that it's multiverse, that the same event that happened in the MCU happened there. That's another theory that
you are giving Sony way too much credit. You are giving Sony
into that.
Do you really think Sony is capable of giving people handouts like that?
And the other theory I saw is just simply incompetence.
Yes, that's all it is. I'm telling you right now. The only competent thing they do is like I said, they try at this point. It's blatant. They're trying to just trick the MCU fan base into seeing their movies, thinking there's going to be some sort of connection, and it's never going to be. Not only are we never going to get that, we're never going to get like a legit Spider-Man, because another thing about this movie is we have a 10-year-old Peter
That's
Parker.
not confirmed yet. That's just a rumor. We don't know that yet.
We possibly saw him in this trailer too.
It could just be a normal kid.
It could be, and if it ends up being true, then that is nail in the coffin number 257.
All right, so I got something for you guys.
Go ahead.
That is going to
blow our minds.
Yes, blow your minds. Now,
They canceled the movie?
no. The movie is written by Kelly Marcel, and also Tom Hardy is billed as a writer too, according to IMDb. So if I'm wrong, blame them, not me. I'm getting it from there. But Kelly Marcel is also the writer for the original Venom movie.
Okay.
Now, here's where things get a little bit bad.
Okay.
She's also the writer for 50 Shades of Grey.
That's like a weird Madame Web connection too with what's her name who starred in it. But
yeah. So with that said, I thought I was excited more like in a better way about this movie, but now I'm just like, oh, I hope they don't turn this into a super love story.
The Last Dance.
Oh,
But here's the thing: she was the writer and co-writer for the first two movies.
No, just the first movie.
No,
no. For the first, yes. She wrote Let There Be Carnage also.
I believe they just got somebody off the street to write Let There Be Carnage, uncredited,
and despite
probably unpaid.
And despite what he says, I thought the first Venom movie was actually really enjoyable.
I do agree.
No, the first Venom movie was good. It was fine. There were things wrong with it, obviously, but it was good.
So she knows these characters, this story, since she's been attached to everyone. Now she's directing. Yes, you still have the studio influence of Sony, so there's that huge red flag above it, and the same studio that produced Madame Web as well. So it's not, there's doubts, there's hope, but I think certain elements of this trailer looks promising, and I think we just gotta go in with an open mind despite certain things that we saw in the trailer. But yes, it is frustrating, the dangling carrot of the MCU. Just link everything together. We have Spider-Man, and one thing that Mike said for a long time, just use the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man for Venom.
And you know what? There's those two alternate takes that you listed before. There's a third one that I bet you could absolutely happen in this movie. Is that scene won't even be included in the final movie. Bet you.
Red herring.
Because how many times has it happened before?
It's happened a lot. With Sony, it happens more.
Well, really, it happened more than once, but within just one movie in Morbius. The Spider-Man poster scene, not in the movie. The part of the end of that trail where they showed Vulture, he didn't show up until like the post-credit scene, which was just dumb. So like again, like it's just like that constant like, hey guys, like you remember you know these characters from the MCU, right? And it's just
almost as if they're doing it on purpose, where they're like,
yes, that's what I'm saying.
We don't have a good story, so let's just sprinkle in some random things.
That's exactly it. Because they're showing that they just don't understand Spider-Man.
They don't get it, and they also ruin everything. Like the post-credit scene for Morbius makes absolute no sense. So why even bother? This movie, thankfully, is in its own universe where it's, all three of these movies, hopefully, as far as we know so far, are self-contained into that universe, and it's not part of the Sony universe, or else we would have seen Venom show up in Morbius or Madame Web, right? I mean, yeah, he was mentioned in Morbius when he goes, I'm Venom, and then haha, okay, but that's it. We don't see anybody, we don't know anything about it. The thing is, though, I'm kind of excited. This is the last of the trilogy.
I'm excited for this to be over. That's basically how I feel.
Sure, we can look at it from that perspective, but who's to say that they don't knock it out of the park this time?
And who's to say this is not the last time we're going to see Tom Hardy as Venom? Like he could still pop up in if they're truly making a new trilogy of Spider-Man movies, he could still pop up in one of those. So you never know. Hopefully it's successful and we get the Venom Spider-Man crossover that we've been promised and hinting at for so long.
You're about to segue into the next thing I wanted to bring up. It's just that this is what's wrong with the whole Sonyverse to begin with. We have gone three, because he's definitely not showing up in this movie. We've gone 3 Venom movies with no inkling of a mention of Spider-Man or Peter Parker or anything having to do with him.
Besides the after credit scene in the last movie.
That doesn't count because that's not their Spider-Man. I'm sorry. And he didn't even say Spider-Man. He just said that guy. That's it. They can't even say the fucking name. It's just it was. So we have that. We had Morbius. We had Craven coming up, and Madame Web. Forget about it. And
I forgot about Craven. I got hopes for Craven too.
If Craven, as long as they just make it his own thing and not try to like do the usual like bait and switch shit with Spider-Man and the MCU stuff, fine. It'll be just fine. But all of these movies, I'm just so over it. It's just because you're saying like maybe you just said maybe we'll see Spider-Man. Just stop hoping, man. That's exactly what they're doing to us again and again and again. You know.
So the question goes out to you guys. Are you on the pancake side where everything is hopeful? Or are you
Not
on
everything.
the Johnny 64 side where it's like, man, I cannot wait for this movie to come out so it could bomb, so I could tell you guys, ha ha, told you so. Let us know.
I'm just living in real life, guys. That's all I'm saying.
Let us know in the comment section down below.